We're back, we're in Italy, Val di Sole, 4th round of the World Cup, and I hope you watched up to speed because there was some news. I'm not doing all the videos. Going forward, I won't be doing any at the races. So you better watch up to speed to find out, was I fired or did I quit? Who knows? So we're going to bring someone in to do a bit of guest presenting at this round, specifically on this tech video. We've got a guy who rides bikes. He knows some things about them, and he's there. It's Brian Kale. Come in here. Now Brian, he's going to be doing the tech video with you. I'll see you inside the tape. I'm out here.
How's it going, guys? You may have seen some of my testing videos out there. Today we're going to go around the pits and talk about chainstay length. I've felt in my riding that longer chainstays help me plant the front wheel. They're a bit more stable. Shorter chainstays, it's a shorter lever out there, so it's easier to get up on the rear wheel for bunny hops, manuals. But we're here at a World Cup, so let's see what the racers think about the hot topic of chainstay length. You've been on quite the setup journey with this thing. We're talking about chainstay length.
Cool.
So how does the rear center play into your vision for this bike?
Yeah, I'm pretty, it's been a new venture, I'd say, since kind of my last year on Trek. I started playing around with it. I had the opportunity to get my own rear end made there. So when I came to Gamex and when that kind of kick-started almost this whole program, like not being able to just tune suspension, but actually tune your geometry to match that. Because when you change the chainstay length, it really dramatically affects the shock and the performance, and really the whole bike. You know, you're changing the rear end, but it actually transforms the front end, I'd say, almost more than it does the rear. For sure, stability is a massive factor. Suspension performance has been changed quite a lot. I feel like I'm still kind of chasing the perfect suspension in order to suit it, but for me, I ride really far off the back, so that normally gives me a bit of a problem with loading the front, and I run a really high front end as well, which people may or may not have noticed. I'm not doing it with the DAC handlebars. I've kind of got a lot of stack at the moment, so a longer rear end provides that leverage to get the front digging and driving, whilst allowing me to still be able to stand quite tall, and I can actually use my feet to load the front wheel rather than having to load my hands, which on a track like this is an absolute godsend, to be honest, because your hands get absolutely hammered on this track. So, I mean, you've seen the racetracks this year, guys. They're like ridiculously fast, and we don't really have any of those techie corners anymore. Like, hopefully this track's going to have a bit more, but I feel like I have the skills with where I've been brought up in Elitha, and everything's like endo corners. So I feel like I'm pretty good at tight corners anyway, so I can get away with having that longer bike and still being able to muscle it around. But I don't want a reach that's, like I said before, that's dragging me over the front of the bike. I like a short reach. And also the steering, that is a geometry change, I guess, as well. It provides very, very quick steering with very little input. I think the feedback I've had from people that have tried my bike is like, holy, this thing turns so fast. Like, before I've even thought about cornering, it's cornering, you know, it's like, it's a really, really quick steering.
Are you at a point where you're willing to say the exact length you're on in the rear?
That's a good question. I think I'm on a 460, is that right, Fraser? Yeah, 460, so relatively long. I've went up to a 465 at one point.
We had like a couple years on the prototype, so went through a few iterations, but yeah, we ended up with the full carbon production model that we got here.
Yeah, sweet. And during that process, is chainstay length something that you guys played with?
So the original prototype we did have adjustable chainstay lengths. I don't remember the exact numbers, but we had 3 different options of it. But it was quite quick that how Bernie rides and kind of for the style of the bike, he really quickly kind of narrowed it down to the shortest chainstay length that we could really do. And that was the most comfortable for him, got it out of the way enough. On the high, like the high bottom bracket mode, it's at 440 mil for the chainstay. And if you're going low, it's at 432? 443, yeah, something like that, yeah.
Was there any feedback of like what he liked or maybe didn't like about those longer setups?
Yeah, he found it was less nimble to be able to move the bike where he wanted, and kind of going over like drops and kind of like over compressions and things. Yeah. It was the wheel was just, he found it was basically buzzing his ass, like so, and it was just in his way.
You've played a big part in the development of these bikes.
Yeah.
How have you guys thought about chainstay length, front to rear center balance? I guess in your career and also in this new bike.
I was the first one actually to have like a proper long bike, you know, back in the days when we seen average speed going up onto the track. And you can tell that World Cup is actually growing a lot with high speed level. You can see the average speed, like last race was like almost close to 50, when also Loudainville was really high. So you know that you need a fairly long front center, right? And this front center has a direct consequence to the rear chainstay. So the chainstay length is all consequence of all this. We might redo that one. So the rear chainstay will apply you, obviously it's all relative to downhill, or if you ride enduro or e-bikes or whatever you'll take, you will do that balance between stability and maneuverability as a consequence of what you're looking for. So most generally you will see the preference on the OE and the engineers that will definitely bring that piece of decision relative to the target of each product. And in downhill, obviously it's massively related to the speed and the peak speed you will find on the track you're riding. If I give you a ratio, look, I give you the front axle, the rear axle, right? If I move my BB back, or if I move my VV frontward, you will naturally get a movement of your center of gravity, which will obviously affect rear load or front load. When you see a car, a rally car driving, right? When they hit the brake, when they corner, you don't want to oversteer. You want the back end to slightly come, and you want the masses to be on the front wheel more than they are on the rear. It's exactly the same on two wheels. When you see, for example, a MotoGP guy, right? He will hit on the front brake, have a massive front transfer, keep the directional on the front, and he wants to have a slight drift from the rear to be able to place the bike. It's exactly the same thing off-road and in downhill, and this actually ratio between front and rear center is crucial to achieve this right balance.
Sweet. And where have you guys ended up with the latest downhill bike?
We have been playing with quite some options,
okay.
And in the past we had the possibility to change and have the possibility to change, and we quickly realized that we stay around 445 and 450 as a reference, and we stayed there and optimize our kinematic, realizing that whatever size of the athlete we are in bang on the right compromise there. And the front center that we have is something that is adjustable, but the rear stay for the World Cup riders is something that was not necessary, and we achieved removing this adjustment from the bike.
I think first and foremost, it's a lot of rider preference. Humans can adapt to a lot of different things, so whatever they like is going to be the first thing to try to hit.
Where have you guys landed for your riders?
Our DH bike's 460 static, and then at SAG it's like 464. When the rear center isn't changing while you're handling the bike's really predictable, and that chainstay length for high speeds is good. I feel like it's easier to make the bike work for you at high speeds, and then you work it around the tight stuff than the other way around.
Really, we're just looking for stability, especially with last year's bike. Chainstay length wasn't particularly long. The biggest notice we found was between regular and low in the flip chip, dropping that BB. That does alter the chainstay length ever so slightly, I believe. But yeah, no, it's not something he's struggled with, so it's never something we've had to play with. Yeah, I do worry if you're so obsessed with a certain number, be it reach or chainstay length, that maybe you're shooting yourself in the foot, you're missing out on what could be quite a good setup, or yeah.
Well, it's more the feeling, right?
Yeah, exactly. That should be the determining factor. I guess the number can point you in the right direction, but shouldn't be this is what I need. At least that's my opinion.